Chapter 117, Fair and Reasonable One. Time flowed by, and it was halfway through October. It should have been the season of cold dew. However, due to the location of the 7 blood eyes, it was still hot during the day. Only at night did it turn cold. This was the case for the sea as well. It was as though the gloominess buried at the bottom of the sea permeated the air with the moonlight, seeping out of the surface of the sea and enveloping the world. It seeped into the bodies of everyone who cultivated at night, allowing them to experience the malice of winter in advance. At this moment, the night wind gusted, and the moonlight cascaded onto the harbor, covering every inch of the bluestone road. It also landed on Xu Qing, who had ended his day's work and was walking toward his berth with vigilance. Xu Qing's figure was tall and straight as he stepped under the moonlight. His gray robe swayed as he moved, and it seemed to be dancing with his long hair. From afar, it looked like a painting of a lone figure under the moonlight. Only the cold wind at night made Xu Qing instinctively feel a little cold. What was cold wasn't his body, but the memories left behind from the slums. It was just like the marks on the painting that were caused by the smoke from the fire. Even if the entire painting was completed, even if the marks were covered with ink and framed so that outsiders couldn't see it, the painting itself knew that the marks still existed. In the cold wind, Xu Qing exhaled and quickened his pace. It had been half a month since the gathering with Xu Qingpeng and the others. During this half a month, Xu Qing worked at the homicide department as usual. He didn't get the promotion that Xu Qingpeng mentioned, nor did he care. To Xu Qing, cultivation was his current focus. His sea transformation art had reached the peak of the 7th level, and he wasn't far from breaking through. It was the same for the mountains and seas art. He was about to reach the 8th level. Xu Qing was looking forward to the breakthrough. He felt that with his current battle prowess, after he broke through to the 8th level of both the sea transformation art and mountains and seas art, there was a high chance that he would be able to instantly kill him from when he had not joined the 7 blood eyes without suffering any injuries. In fact, if he encountered the diamond sex ancestor again, Xu Qing felt that although he still couldn't defeat the other party even after reaching the 8th level, if he cooperated with the shadow and went all out in the preemptive strike, he would have a certain chance of resisting a few moves. Soon, Xu Qing narrowed his eyes. The enemy he was most anxious to kill now, other than the diamond sex ancestor, was that merfolk youth. He felt that it wouldn't be long before he would have the strength to kill the former. As for the latter, he was already looking for an opportunity. It was just that he felt some regret. During this half a month, he would cautiously follow the merfolk youth almost every day in search for an opportunity to kill him. However, the other party always had protectors by his side, so it was hard for him to make a move. Occasionally, when the other party went out alone like the captain had said, he would use a treasure that concealed his aura and figure, causing him to disappear without a trace. Xu Qing had not found an opportunity yet, but he was still patient. After some analysis, he realized that he had to think of a way to leave some marks on the other party. If I encounter such an opponent in the future, I have to leave a mark in advance. Xu Qing mumbled. Just like how he had learned how to deal with corpses back then, he committed this matter to memory and continued on his way. Very soon, he arrived at the berth at Port 79. On the way, Xu Qing didn't encounter any malicious gazes, and no one came to disturb him. Although it hadn't been a long time since Xu Qing had arrived at the 7 blood eyes, he had gradually gained some fame through killing. Such fame caused the number of people who had designs on him to be greatly reduced, and most of them were extremely cautious. At this moment, as Xu Qing released the magic boat, a gigantic boat instantly appeared out of thin air. When it landed on the surface of the sea, the sound of waves crashing against the surface of the sea could be heard. The boat was over 200 feet long and 30 feet wide, and gave off a frightening aura. Under the moonlight, the pitch-black deck emitted a black glow that seemed to have fused together with the cold light from the densely packed scales on the outside, coupled with the huge and sinister crocodile head at the bow. It made this magic boat seem like it had really transformed into a giant crocodile. This was especially so when the crocodile's mouth was wide open. The countless sharp teeth and the eerie glint in its eyes added to the feeling of intimidation. Upon closer inspection, one could see that the scales on the outer side of the boat were of a higher level than before. In fact, even the inner side, which was not visible to outsiders, was covered in scales. There was also a special bone that penetrated the entire ship, forming a support that was stronger than before. There was still wind circling the surroundings, causing this giant beast-like magic boat to emit waves of intimidating aura. The cabin was much larger now, and the rooms inside were the same. There were places to rest and places to cultivate. Xu Qing even built an exclusive medicine room. Other than that, one could occasionally see a wisp of green flowing light swimming around the ship like a living creature. Wherever it passed, it would strengthen the sturdiness of the magic boat. The most important thing was that there was a huge groove on the ship's deck. Although there was nothing inside, there were many densely packed formations. Clearly, it was left there specifically. This was the level 6 magic boat that Xu Qing had used up over 100 spirit stones to forge using mid-quality materials. And the groove cost him another 10 spirit stones. This was because he had his eyes on a material. It was a small piece of a giant whale skull. Once it was added, it would allow his magic boat to break through from level 6 to the peak of level 7 in terms of sturdiness. However, the pieces of the skull of this giant whale were too expensive. It was one of the inferior high-quality materials for the magic boat. The price was naturally astonishing. It required a total of 200 spirit stones. This price was extremely exaggerated. Xu Qing had gone to take a look many times in the past few days, but could only leave while gritting his teeth as he decided to save some money to buy it. When I buy the giant whale's skull and make the magic boat reach level 7, and when my cultivation breaks through to 8th level, I'll head out to sea.